seem to be having a little bit of trouble. My ring light is flopping, but hopefully you're all well. And I just wanted to do another live. I did grab a pencil. Let me just grab another one. Yeah, so welcome back to my channel. Today's live. I'm going to be attempting this scene. It's actually a snapshot of one of my videos that I put out quite recently on what inspires me finding the light. So I just took this snapshot from that video, and I just love the way the light comes through the trees, and I want to capture that. So I'm not going to be using this reference. I'm not going to copy it exactly, but this gives me the basis of the painting that I'm aiming to do. So hopefully I get it, have success with that. So I'm looking at where the sun is, and so it's really important to leave this area. I'm just going to mark in where the light source is. So I've got it here, and I want it quite light, so if you can't see it, you will once I start adding the watercolor. So I'm just marking down. You've seen this stage before. When I do this, it's just getting the painting all planned in. So I've got this little bit of light coming through as well, and there is a little bit of a stream here, so the light sort of follows through, hitting that water and reflecting the sunlight. And you got lots of trees, and although there's quite a lot going on in this scene, a lot of it is trees, and so I can, it's quite, I suppose, not as difficult as you may think. Famous last words. Hopefully I get it right. And so I'm just getting the path now, and I like the way the light comes down hitting the path, and that's one of the things that really drew me to this scene. So I'm just a loose sketch, because like I said, most of this is going to be covered with watercolor. And so you got these all these greens and all these yellows and nice colors that I'm going to be using throughout this one. There's a bit of light on this side as well. Thanks for joining. Please do hit the like, and I do appreciate if you stay tuned. I think this is gonna be a nice little painting, hopefully. So we'll see. Let me know where you're from, and if you're joining me for the first time, if you've not been on my channel before, please do give me a like, comment, all that sort of thing. And if you're a regular, then welcome back. Just marking in some of these trees, and that's probably going to do for the planning. I just want to make sure I've got those light areas in so that I don't miss those. I mean, it is handy to use masking fluid if you're doing this sort of scene. I'm just adding a little bit of water. I'm gonna just fire that in, avoiding because when you got water on the paper, that's where the pigment travels, and then when the paper's dry, it sort of stops there. So just gonna go in with some nice yellow color. So just popping that in here and there, avoiding that sun. So and it doesn't really matter, you know, this first wash doesn't really matter. It's all about getting rid of that white of the paper, the horrible white. So just adding in little spots of yellow. And this is, I'll show you my palette. This is actually Indian yellow. So it's quite a nice bright, nice for summer trees. And this was taken in the summertime. So it's nice to feel like the weather's here again. And I'm just going to tap into some sap green with this, just letting those colours mix and give me some nice undertone. So I'm using quite a lot of water, and so I'm getting these nice light washes, which is all important. So when you first start out covering the paper, you want to go in quite light. You want, obviously, with watercolors being a transparent medium, you want to sort of slowly build up the colors as you progress. And so I do want this I've done a couple of tight paintings lately, taken a lot of time and, you know, really sort of concentrated, and I want this one to be really loose. So yeah, that's the plan. Saying that, hopefully I get this right. And that's one of the things about doing live streams. You don't know what really is going to happen, and even when you're doing paintings, it's you have this idea in your head of what you want to achieve, and then just try and get what you imagine onto paper. So a lot of times it doesn't quite go that way. It can go a different way. Sometimes it's quite nice though when you know the watercolor sort of goes a different direction, something unplanned, but can be quite nice as well. So this is the color of the path with the highlights. So the highlighted area is going to be this color here. So again, remember, this is the lightest wash for the path. So that gives me a nice indication of how dark I want to go around the area. So you can always squeeze out your brush, go back in and lift some of that. You can see there is a bit of a difference there, and you can also use a little bit of tissue as well. If you don't get that pigment off in time, you can try using a bit of a tissue as well. That's a napkin that I got from McDonald's this morning. Had my breakfast at McDonald's. I wanted a treat. I've not had a McDonald's breakfast for a little while, so I wanted to treat myself with that. So I'm just switching brushes now. So this is again a mop brush, but slightly smaller than the other, and I'm just going to go in with a nice yellow color and just spotting a few little details, little random sort of dots, and this is just representing the foliage. So we've got lots of leaves and all these different colors. You can use whatever whatever color you want really with these autumn trees, but you know, it's just nice to get those golden sort of colors. Nice yellow, orange, all those different colors. You can even pop in a few reds, and it's quite nice. So just a few like little dots, and these are in places where the paper's dry. So you've got some soft edges where the paper's wet, and then when you go in with the dry paper, you get the more solid brush strokes or lines or dots or whatever you may be adding. So it's quite nice, and I do like that in watercolor when you have some it's almost like melted places where it's really soft, and then you got these softer edges, so it's perfect in the sky. That's the sort of thing you want to be doing in your sky, getting some really nice soft edges. And if you do have some sharp sort of clouds, and you just go in with the dry paper, and as you add them, you get the sharper, sort of more defined clouds. So, right, so I'm going to switch brushes again. I'm going to be jumping back and forth with this. I've got my liner brush now. This is a size 2 Da Vinci Maestro liner. I do have a dagger brush, and maybe I should dig that out at some point, because I don't think I've ever used it. One of these, I do buy brushes, and sometimes it takes me a little while to get to them and use them. Sometimes even years. I've got a few brushes that I've never actually used. I've got a travel brush, which looks quite nice. I'd say it's quite a nice brush, but I really don't know because I've not used it yet. It's one of those that you can unscrew it. It sort of goes in half, if you know what I mean. The brush is probably about that size, and you sort of screw it, and it extends, obviously. And so, yeah, I do like to buy art supplies, but I will get around to trying all those materials that I have bought over the years and not used yet. There's always time, especially when I do need new brushes. I've always got some that I've never used. So just for interest now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop in some red in this corner, and red isn't in this reference photograph, but I just thought it'd be quite nice. It's sort of when you go for a different color, quite a bright color, it just drags your eye in, and it's quite nice to do. And because this is quite a nice scene, and the reason why I said it's fairly easy is because you can just, with the trees, and there's mostly trees in this scene, pretty much, you can just go sort of wild with the brush, different brushes, and I know I've said it a few times, if you've got new brushes, or materials that you've not used before, or you want to try different techniques that you've not done before, this is the perfect sort of painting that you can do those things on. I mean, you can see the brush strokes that I'm doing now. They're quite loose and quite expressive, and it's that sort of scene. You can get away with it in this. So I'm enjoying, and I know traditionally people use the liner brush for just lines, but once I get hold of the liner brush, I do like to sort of paint with it as well, get these different marks. And because it's a lot of foliage and that sort of thing in this scene, I want to be fairly random with the brush strokes, so you can get all these loose marks. And as you progress, I mean, you will be adding things on top of those as well, so it's all good. And you can actually spatter paint as well, but I don't want to make a mess. Look. Excuse me. So I do sometimes do that, but it does sort of go on furniture and on the tablecloth and all that sort of thing, so I don't want to do that today. I would normally. I think with this scene it would look quite nice with some spatters texture on there, so it just gives it that loose and random look. And yeah, just add in some marks. It's quite dense with foliage and tree and branches and all that all those sort of things coming into the scene itself. I'm just moving you forward just a little bit, and let's get these trunks in at the main trees. So I'm just getting a little bit of that Payne's grey, and I've got a bit of neutral tint as well. So just popping in some of that, and because there's foliage, it's quite heavy in foliage, I want some of this trunk to disappear as well into it's like it's being swallowed up with the leaves and all the different colours of foliage. And there we go. So you don't want to go fully solid dark for these trees. You want to sort of break off and allow room for those little spots of foliage. This is still a bit wet. My last live was a bit of a disaster really, because I couldn't wait for the paint to dry, the paper to dry, and there was quite a lot of water down, so it went against me in my last live. So I'm trying not to come into the same problem with this one, and I'm gonna try some olive green in a minute. I'll show you why I really like olive green. If you've never used olive green, usually my green that I do use and I always have is sap green, which I'm actually using now. Just a little bit of yellow mixed into that, and you can see just the different colours that you get with that one. But I am going to show you why I love olive green, so stay tuned. I'm going to get that. It's one of the colours that I bought just recently. I bought 3 colours, and so olive green was one of those. I do have it in, I think it's my Schminke Horadam, and I was really impressed with that colour. And so when I was at the art shop the other week, my videos on this channel, I did pick out an olive green then, and it's actually Winsor & Newton, I think. No, it's actually Schminke. I've got the paint here. I'm going to squeeze out a little bit onto my palette and show you why I like this this colour. Hi Julie, how are you doing? Hopefully you're okay. You can hear I've got a little bit of a snuffle, a bit of a runny nose today, but hope you're well. Julie, are you have you got any plans today? It's lovely to have you on board, and thank you for the like if that was you. If not, then why not? Give us a like. I want to try and get as many people on this live as possible. I know the last time, I think Susan might have popped in for a minute. I'm not even sure. I don't know. I know one of the live streams that I did quite recently, there was absolutely nobody around. So I'm hoping that more people join. I'm great. One of the likes was me. Yeah. Thank you, Julie. I thought it would be. There's only one like, so that's you. Yay. So thank you for joining, Julie from the US. She's from, I think, New Jersey. Is that right? I know a lot of her videos she shoots in New Jersey, Sussex. I remember that because we've got a Sussex in this country. So yeah. Okay, now I might have bitten off too much to chew with this painting because it's a bit of a challenge. Like I said, I'm trying to reserve this area for the sun, so this is going to be a really bright spot in the painting, and I've done this I've done like a light popping through the trees a couple of times, so this is quite a risk, a bold move, doing this on live without without any masking fluid. Did I say masking tape? Masking fluid. So yeah, I'm just hoping for the best, and hopefully it starts to. Let's see. Today my kids are coming back from California. I live in New Jersey. Yeah, that's right. Your Sussex is more famous. Oh right, really? Have you heard of Sussex in this country? Quite a nice region, quite a nice county, Sussex. I used to live in West Sussex, a place called East Grinstead. I think it was West Sussex. But that was a really nice countryside, lots of countryside and greenery. But one of the things is in the south, because it's the south of the country, right down, you don't get as many hills as you do here in the north. So I'm a bit biased, but I think the countryside is a little bit nicer up north. Oh, thanks for the like. I've got another like. So thank you for that. Let me know if you're on the live, where you're watching from. I'd be quite interested to know. It's quite interesting that a lot of my audience, in fact most of my audience, when I look in the analytics, most of my audience is from the US, which is it's quite cool, and it's amazing that you can sort of go online and get people from all over the world watching your videos. So it's a really nice, powerful tool, this YouTube. And Julie's got a channel as well. She likes to post videos on midwife, sort of retired, that sort of channel. I've got a few friends that are doing the same. A few of my friends here on YouTube, life after sort of a certain age, about 21 is it, Julie? So yeah. So just roughing in some, like I said, I do want this painting quite loose. I'm jumping all over the place. I'm jumping all over the place, so I'm just having fun with this. Yeah, I'm 28. Yes, I was gonna say 28 thereabouts. Oh, and then I kicked my ring light. Why not? 28 is almost the same age as me. So I'm just spotting in some, keeping my brush strokes nice and loose. I don't want to spend too much time. Just like I said, with these sort of scenes, you can just really loosen up, and it's perfect for that if you want to try and loosen up. Obviously, my first advice would be bigger brushes and plenty of water. And thirdly would be to work quite quickly, and that will help loosen up your paintings if that's something that you want to do. So I'm going in with this tree branch trunk, and it does disappear whenever you've got a light source, with it being the sun on this one. It does, the tree trunk does sort of disappear. It disappears, and it's important to get that in the scene. So when you get closer to the actual sun or your light source, you want to maybe go a bit lighter just before it breaks, so it gives that really that impression of the sun. So you can go quite light, quite dark on the top side. So let me do that. I'm going to do that now actually. I'm going to go quite dark with these branches and trunks. quite dark. Again, I don't want anything too precise. I'm not copying the photograph exactly. I just want the essence of this one. So I am using it as a reference. I'm looking at the reference, but I'm sort of not looking at it too much. I don't want to be copying exactly. I just want the overall sort of feel of the picture. And obviously looking at this, the light coming through, the light coming down the path. It's a really nice scene, and this was taken from one of the walks I had. I do go for walks, and sometimes I do take you along. You may recognize this scene if you've seen those videos when I get out walking. It's one of the places that I do go to for a bit, and yeah, sometimes I do take you along. So let me, I'm going to try this olive green now, and let me know what you think, if you like this colour. I'm looking at my palette, it's quite dirty. Trying to find a spot where I can get the paint on without, so I can get the colour of the olive green. So that's the tube, it's the Schminke Horadam Aquarelle, and it's olive green. So I really do like this colour. I'm going to get my liner brush for this one because I don't want to contaminate it too much. Oh, that's quite dark. Maybe because it's from the tube. Ah, okay. The olive green that I've used before, I seem to remember it being a bit yellow, a bit of a yellowy colour. This is quite a green, and it's sort of like artificial looking. Not the green that I remember, but nevertheless, let me go in with a little bit of yellow just to make that a little bit more realistic. I do like it, but it's going to be one of those greens that I like to mix, similar to sap green, but I'm still a fan of sap green. I know a lot of you don't like sap green as much, but I find it, I know people say that it's not a realistic sort of looking green, but I think this one, I think the other olive green is, I think it must be Winsor & Newton that I've got, because it's completely different to this one. So yeah, a bit disappointed with that. I thought it'd be a different colour, but there we go. There is green sort of like this in this scene, on this little part here with the trees and the undergrowth. It's a bit like this green, but I do find it a little bit artificial looking. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've used olive green and what brand of paint you use, because sometimes it does make a difference. I think, yeah, it must be Winsor & Newton that I've got. And I really do like the colour, but this one I'm not sure. I was expecting something completely different, but there we go. Do you find that different brands give different colours? Let me know. I know that's sort of the way with this. I don't. So just darkening a little bit of this, and remember, when you go with your darker tones, it helps the light pop in the scene. So it's really important to get those darker tones in your painting, just because it does help those lights. And it's just exciting when you start adding those darks. I do find that a really nice stage, even though a long time I sort of struggled with that. My paintings were washed out until I started focusing on the darks on my painting a bit more, rather than sort of finish prematurely. I'm going in and working a little bit more, just getting through that. And yeah, so let's pull you back a little bit more. Oh, my cyst much brighter. Yep. The colours look so real. I like what I'm looking like. I am looking at the window. Yeah, I've seen the video that you put out, one of your videos, and I did comment that I really like the outside looking through the window. It looked like a painting, so looks like you're looking at the window here. Much brighter. My sister is a watercolor painter. I hope to learn more someday. Well, there's no time like the present. Look at Susan, again 38 years old, beginning to paint for the first time, and she's doing exceptionally well. So there's never a right time. You just got to go and do it, like anything, and I'm sure you know that by now. But yeah, just go for it. Go for it. You can always buy used Cotman watercolors for a long time, and they're Winsor & Newton, but the student grade, which if you can get them in your country, Julie, they are really inexpensive, but they're really nice, especially to start off. You're not forking out a lot of money. Some of the pigments are quite expensive, so Cotman I really do recommend if you want to start painting. Then I do recommend those paints if you can get them in the US. I'm sure you can. I think Susan's got some of the Cotman. But yeah, just look around. I wouldn't get the cheap ones from sort of supermarkets. You can get sort of a tin of paints for like $2 or $3, whatever it may be. And I wouldn't necessarily go for those. But if, out of all things, if you wanted to go cheap, then paints are, you know, the least important of the things that you could buy. But if you're new and you wanted to start, paper is probably the most important thing you can get. So I wouldn't go cheap on paper. You do get a better result with more of a quality paper, because that's my advice. Because you can get a nice painting from... You can't get a decent painting if you use, like, say, just an example, if you used photocopying paper, normal sort of even cartridge paper, you use that, it's not going to take the watercolor as much, and you're not going to get the results that you want. So it does pay to get, if you can, get cotton watercolor paper. That is best. But equally, you can find some paper that's quite nice to use. I am a fan of Bockingford, which is a wood pulp paper. So it's not cotton, but I'm a fan of that because it's a really good quality, and I think it's all about the sizing that they use on the paper, which gives you a nice surface to work on, and it just keeps your paint on the surface, so it does a good job. So, are you working today, Julie? If you're still here, yes, that much brighter about your new pen. Yep. I bought some recently, actually. Well, Julie, you need to get them. You need to get practicing and just have fun with it. You know, you don't have to go in and paint a masterpiece. You just go in and have fun. Just play around with the colours and see what you can do. And I think with watercolors, my advice, I see a lot of people using it almost like, we used to have poster paint, and I think that's probably close to acrylic, water-based sort of paint. The sort of stuff that you have in schools that kids, little children would paint with. And I see people using watercolors similar to that, just using the neat paint. And I just think it's missing the point, because it's watercolor. You know, there's the pigment itself, which you can use neat, but you've got just all the different things that you can do when you add water. It just allows the medium, that's the medium. It's meant to be with water, so yeah, enough said. So let's see. How about I commit to paint before the end of November? In the past, I have mostly just done abstracts. Yeah, definitely. I love the way watercolor works on its own. Yeah, sort of like I am in less control than with other medium. Exactly. That is so true. You know, that's one of the things that I do love about watercolor, and I mentioned it on my last video. Sometimes if you listen to your painting, whatever you're painting, sometimes it wants to go a different way. You got in your head, you've got one way of seeing what you want to achieve, and then the other, it sort of wants to go a different way. So I think you got to allow, and this is my opinion, you got to allow the watercolor to just do what it wants, and don't fight it too much. You can't control everything about watercolor, and I think when you let go of that control, that's when it begins to work. And it's took me a long time to get to that place where you just allow whatever happens, as long as you understand the medium and what it can do. You can control certain aspects, but just let go of that control, and that's when the magic of watercolor really happens, if you know what I mean. And I'm sure if you're watching are used to watercolors, then I'm sure you can understand, you know what I mean. So just add in a few little, there is a bit of light coming through the trees on this side, so I'm gonna preserve that area, just painting a few little dots here and there in between where the light's behind these leaves. It gives them a darker look to them. So yeah, so you gotta go in and you gotta work with it. Once you understand the medium and what it can do, then you're able to let it do what it does. Allow it to just be free, and just let it do. I know people say it, the painting sort of paints itself. I know that's cliche, but it's true. It's true. And once you do get to that point, like I said, that's when all the magic happens with watercolor. So I'm just scruffing in some of this undergrowth. So it's just yellow ochre and dirty yellow ochre from a palette. So yeah, add a few dark spots to that. And yep, and I'm going to go in for a few more, darken these branches and trunks here on this side. And I really wanted to do this scene because of the last painting that I did on my channel with trees, and it was up a mill with the canal and the reflections, and I really enjoyed painting the trees, so that brought me along to this photograph that I took. Well, this I did a screenshot from my channel, so it inspired me to move on to this, and I really do like, I know it's one of my sort of weak points, painting trees, but if you paint enough of them, I'm sure you're going to improve. I think I am improving as I paint more trees, and trees are pretty much everywhere in landscape scenes, so that's why I want to paint more trees and get more used to it, because they're everywhere and it's nice. It can make a really nice painting, and like I said, it's quite forgiving because you got a lot of foliage and you can just sort of just go mad with your brush. So it's quite easy in one way but not in another, if you know what I mean. So I'm just going to add some dark to this part of the tree now. So you got the tree disappearing within this foliage, as I said before. Let me see if I can move you just slightly, and let's get some of this darker foliage. So I'm going a little bit darker now as I progress. So I'm gonna start bringing things together. So things will start looking a bit better as I go along. So don't worry if you're wondering what I'm doing. It will make sense shortly. So there's a lot of green on this side. It's quite dense. You got a little bits of yellow popping through, and I'm allowing this under the first wash to sort of pop through. You can see that. So that's why it's nice to get those light washes in first. So your highlights and lighter areas have already been taken care of. You've already done that in the first wash. And I think I'll mix this colour up now. I'm going for a little bit of red in with the yellow ochre, just to give me a nice warm colour. I'm going to drop that in different places, and again, this is not what I see on the reference, but it does add that nice colour as I pop it in. And you can, if you want a more muted sort of green, then red is a good colour to mix with it. So if your green is too bright and you don't want anything too bright or standing out, try adding a little bit of red. I've got cad red, so that's what I'm using to mix. And it just brings that green just a little bit down, a bit more muted. So for me, it looks a bit more realistic. I love the way watercolor works on it. So, oh, I've already read that. I need to get out for my morning walk. Great to spend my breakfast with you. Thank you, Julie. It's nice to have you pop in and say hello. I really do appreciate that. And so you enjoy your walk, and I'll look forward to seeing you around on the tube. So just adding a little bit more of this colour. I do like this, and I'm going to get a bit more red and just pop that in the top here. I do like this red. We've still got those autumn colours, even though this was sort of like towards the end of summer. The colours started changing already and coming through. So yeah, I'm actually going to lift some of these colours because the sun's almost like it's burning through the foliage and trees. So I think hopefully that'll look a bit better once I start adding some darks around where the sun's coming through. So let me just do that. So I want this really bright. I want it to almost be like when you look at it, and I've seen paintings like this before where you look at the painting and the sun and it feels like you want to put your sunglasses on because it's really, really bright. And the way to get that is just add some really dark tones to the painting, and especially around where the light source is. So you want to go quite dark, and hopefully that works. And there is a little bit of reflection on the stream around here, so I want that to be quite bright as well. So what I'm doing here is just adding some dark. Thank you, Julie. Just adding some dark around where the light is shining, so it's not directly underneath. It's okay. It's not a it is a reflection, but it's not like directly from the sun. So although it's just a bit off side to the sun, it does reflect that light, so I'm getting away with it like that. That's my excuse. So just allow that to be a light spot, and you can add some darks as well. So this is really fun, because there's lots of trees and foliage. You can just make a lot of it up. It really doesn't make much of a difference. Just go in and just have fun with your brushes. And if you do have new brushes, it's perfect to try them out on something like this. There we go. Let me move you back again a little bit. I don't know whether this is going to be different. Let me try. I didn't have my ring light on. Maybe that's better. I do apologise if that wasn't as bright before, but just remembered. This is actually a replacement to my last ring light, and I find the ring is a lot smaller than the other one that I had, and it's sort of, sometimes when I see my videos when I'm using this ring light, it's almost a warm sort of yellow, so I don't want that. I want close to natural light as I can with a ring light, so a lot of times I don't turn it on, but I think it's working quite well with me today, so I think we'll leave it on. Just a bit of sap green. Let me pop a bit of sap green in these trees. So I really like with watercolor the way you can sort of have a nice soft, so you got your soft edges, and you got some, you can go in and add a few dots of color like I'm doing here, just to give that texture, but also leave some melted areas. Like I said, melted. It's not really melted, but that's what it looks like to me, and I quite like that. So I'm going for it. Just close in some of this light area so it doesn't look like I've just finished the painting towards the edge of the paper. It does look like there's a gap within the trees, so I just want to close that off a little bit, and that'll make it a little bit more effective when you look at this scene. So let me a bit more Indian yellow. I'm looking at the reference less and less now as I progress through this. And like I said, it's not an exact copy of the photograph. I'm just using it as a guide. It is nice to work from photographs, especially when the weather is not too great. Then you just grab your phone and some of the pictures that you've taken on your phone. It's perfect to get these painting subjects. So I want a few. I'm building up now. Can you see? Just slowly building up the painting, adding more layers. And I think with this sort of painting, you can overwork. Again, that's not something that I usually do. Normally, I underwork my paintings, but I think we all have our little sort of struggles when it comes to painting. You know, even those that you see as masters at the painting, I think we all have our little sort of struggles when it comes to painting. Still learning. So any suggestions or anything like that, I'm always up for suggestions. If you think maybe I could do something a little bit different, let me know. Drop me a comment, let me know. I think no, it's okay. I was looking at my microphone and I thought there was a red light on it, but it's not. It's actually the volume gauge, it's orange. I thought it was going to die, but I did charge it before I started this. Give it an hour charging or so, and it did stop blinking. So I'm presuming it's fully charged. So should be okay. So I want to sort of make this area a little bit, work on it. And right, I'm going to go in. I want to add some of those highlight areas on the path. So I'm going to go with the sort of warm, it's almost like a peach colour, pinky peach. And I'm going to go in. So I think these are the shadows. Looking at it. So I'm going to go quite carefully and just add in some of those strips of light and shadow coming down. I really like these in watercolour. If you get these right, they can really make an effective, really nice scene. And this is the sort of thing that I do look for when I'm out and about, looking for new things to paint, things that I think will make a nice painting. These are the sort of things that I like. Let me know what you like to paint when you're out, or when you just want to do a painting. Let me know the sort of things, the scenes that you like. And so there we go, that's some of that light coming through, and we've still got this little opening here, so it's going to come sort of directly down from this area. So just getting in some of the darks coming through either side, and that'll give us a nice little lit up area where the stream is. So I'm just going to close off a little bit some of these areas, and yeah, so I can bring that in a bit more. And thinking it's looking, I think I'm getting there now. I think we're getting there. Let's get some more sap green, a little bit more yellow ochre. I want to close off some of these areas with just block of colour. So there we go. So yeah, if you did want to do a scene like this, if you do have masking fluid, then maybe that's something you can try to get this effect the bright sunlight, and I'm going to do a little bit, take a little bit of paint out here and there so it looks like it's bleaching through the trees, and it gives it that little look. Let me try a different brush, a smaller brush now. Lift a little bit more of that area. So can you see that? I'm going to add some darks just next to those little areas that I've just removed, lifted, and that gives it more of an effect, if you can see that. So then we've got, looking at the reference now, we do have a few little darker sort of things coming into the, I guess, coming across or above the stream. So just adding a few things there, and just adding some dark around. There we go. I don't know whether that's done any justice to the scene, but hopefully it will once I start going in darker just in a few places, and then it just helps that light to stand out and it's a bit more translatable into light. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me pull you back a bit more. Hopefully you can see. I just don't like filming in portrait mode. I'd rather be in landscape. But there we go. There's nothing I can do when it comes to live stream. I don't know whether it's because I'm filming with my phone. But you can't paint. You can't do a live stream with the phone horizontal. So yeah, it's rather annoying, but we'll try and go with it. We'll try and just go with it. And there's nice yellow bits just coming through this part, which I'm going to spot in. I'm going to add some there as well, and a bit here. Maybe I can replicate that on this side. A little bit of yellow here and there. Quite a nice colour to have in your landscape paintings. I'm going to go in, there's a fair bit. I think where the highlights are, the lighter areas, then there's this nice yellow coming through. Slightly a bit more yellow than what I'm using. This Indian yellow is a little bit more of an orangey sort of tone, but I'm just going with it. Not too fussed. Like I said, I'm not after perfection, anything like that. Just having a good time and seeing if I can get this painting as loose as I can, but get an effective painting nevertheless. So, like I said, it's good to use bigger brushes as possible. It just helps you paint nice and loose. When you have a smaller brush in your hand, it's too tempting to start messing with detail. And if you are looking for loose, then bigger brushes are best, to be honest. So let's see. Okay, let's, some really nice, I'm going to get yellow, yeah, some more Indian yellow on my brush, and we're going to go for this area here. So there's quite a bit of light in this area, so it's quite nice. And just adding those little dabs of yellow in there. Let's see. So just a few little yellow spots. So I am leaving a bit of the paper white, sort of unpainted. So that's going to be the highlights, and play them off against the dark as I progress. And I think I need to grab some sap green and a little bit of Payne's grey. So I want some quite dark down here. I was going to get disturbed while doing this live. I just remembered that time when my wife rang twice and then there was a bang at the door, and I was hoping that something like that didn't happen today. So hopefully that's the disturbance out of the way. Hopefully. And let me going to go for some of that warmer tones in the path. So it's not a solid path, it's sort of melts into the undergrowth. So there we go. And I think I need to add a little bit more to the cast shadows on the path. So let me go for that. Just add a bit dark, a bit more dark, just here and there. Yep. So I'm just working on closing this area up and just going dark in areas, and that's pretty much all I've got to do with this one. Let me pop in a bit of yellow going in. You can see inside this area, and it does actually come all the way and meets that other side pretty much. Let's so yeah, it's all about layering as well. So when you do a painting in watercolor, you want to just start glazing, going over certain areas, and with it being transparent, you can have the undertones, the first sort of washes or the first colours that you put down, shining through. And that's the appeal of watercolour. That's what I really love about the medium. There we go. So just random spots here and there. Not looking at the reference much now. Just want to close up a few areas. And you got some nice yellow in this part, sort of breaking, and I think this is the opening, so the path goes through these trees. So above the head, it's not filled with foliage or branches. Just a few branches going above. And let me just see if I can fill in some of those little areas. So I'm going to fill in this trunk on the other side. Payne's grey, neutral tint, a bit of yellow ochre. And I'm going with more pigment now to water so that we got thicker mix, thicker paint, which is nice to do in this stage. You can see what's happening there as I add it. It really does stand forward. It's more defined and that's what I want. This is further away from the sun, so you can go quite dark in places with this now. And let me do the same on this side with these two branches. I'm going to do a third one actually. Maybe something coming up like that. So you'll have to excuse, I don't know whether you've just heard a little bit banging then. Next door she's having some renovation work doing. So they're ripping out and doing all sorts like that in the kitchen or bathroom, one of the two. So you may hear a little bit of banging here and there. Not heard any for a little bit. I think they're probably on the lunch, which is good. So yeah, hopefully they don't start distracting us. I do expect it now when I do live streaming. Oh, there we go. Right on cue. They're sawing down some wood now. But there you go. That's one of the things that's about live streaming. You just can't help what's going on around you. But it's certainly better than where I was a few months ago working, trying to get some sleep and just having all these things going on and preventing me to sleep. So it's much better now. So yeah, I'm really not a fan. I'm quite surprised with that olive green. I wouldn't call it olive green. I thought it'd be. You'd think olive green would be more of a creamy sort of yellow ochre sort of green, but there we go. Sometimes, you know, different brands of watercolor give different tones of color. I don't know. Maybe I think it's because it was in the pan, dried pigment rather than the tube, so that's all I'm used to. So maybe that's the difference. I don't know. Let me know if you do know why. Sometimes the colours can be completely different. If it makes a difference with it being in a pan or straight from the tube, that'd be interesting to know. So there's quite a lot going on. It's quite a lot of detail, I suppose, and but it is fun to do this sort of painting. You can just go in and practice brush strokes and techniques and all that sort of thing with these sort of paintings. But it's still fun. It's still fun. Still fun to do. So I'm enjoying doing this one. And let me just add a few little things going on here as it comes out from the side. Let's close some of this in so that we make the most of this light. I think if I go in just above here and close some of this off, so then it looks like the light's just coming straight down. That's what I've got in the reference. So let's try and maximize that. There we go. Hopefully that makes sense. I think it does. Oh, hi Dawn. Sorry I can't hang out, I'm working, but I am happy to be here. I'm happy for you to be here, Dawn, even if it's brief, but you can catch, if you're still around, you can catch this. Will be on my channel later on. Once I've finished the live stream, I am going to leave it on my channel. So I do appreciate you popping in, Dawn. Hopefully you're well. Hopefully you have a good day at work. But thank you for popping in. Don't forget to give me a like, Dawn, please. And keep on with your channel. It's really nice to have friends here on YouTube and support each other when possible. So Dawn's one of my friends from Belize. Must be really nice over there now in comparison. But to be fair, it's not been too cold yet. I think the temperature, I think it's going to be one of those years where the temperature just drops overnight and goes into the minuses. I just got that feeling. But so far, like in the morning, even though it's dark early in the morning and dark early in the evening, it's we've still been in double figures, sort of 14, 15 degrees, that sort of thing. But I think that is going to rapidly change soon. And yeah, I think we're in for a cold one, I think, this year. Sometimes it doesn't happen till November. November, December. But yeah, we'll see. So let's see. Oh, I just kicked you again. Let me see if I can adjust the. I did have a little problem before I started with the ring light. Yeah, it's just dropping. Let me see. I have to move the camera. There we go. Okay, so hopefully that does look like sun coming through the scene and sort of melting the trees and foliage that's surrounding. I'm hoping that's what I'm getting. I'm hoping that's what it's translating to. I did try this once before, did this sun coming through the trees, and so I'm hoping to do a better job this time. Although I was quite happy with the other one, I just want to see if I can get a bit better. And like anything, you practice something, you become better, right? Isn't that what they say? It's a bit wet, it's hard to not touch with my hand the wet areas. So there we go. Yeah, I can even go in and add some more branches or trunks, even without looking at the reference. I want to sort of just encourage a few more trees, and yeah, I think that makes it a bit more, because there's a lot going on, I think that makes it a little more, breaks it up a little bit more. Let me know what you think. I'm going to go for a few on this side as well, just to give your eyes something to look at as you look through the scene, rather than just spots of green and all that sort of thing. So I am just adding in a few bits here and there which aren't on the reference, but I'm happy to do that. It's quite nice, and this is where you practice your artist license, just making things up as you go along, which I'm no stranger to be fair. But yeah, I think it does offer something in this one, rather than looking like a complete mess. I think we're coming through that stage now, the messy stage. But yeah, hopefully it's beginning to make a little bit more sense. I think it does. I think. Let's let me get some. I'm going to go with a liner brush now. Thank you for the like if that was you, Dawn. You can always watch this on the replay, whatever they call it. Just adding a few twigs and branches and all that sort of thing as I come to the finish, because there's not really much else I want to do on this painting before it starts getting overworked. It'll be a first time for everything, but yeah, I'm quite happy with this. Just add a few little branches. There we go. And I think a little bit of darks over in this undergrowth. And like I said, when you start adding darks to the corners, it does drag your eye into the scene, so it's quite effective. I'm going to just pop in lots of it's really good because a scene like this you don't have to go perfect at all. In fact, the opposite, and you can get away with more in scenes like this. You can sort of just, you can make your mistakes and then cover them up easier. So you can maybe try this one and see how you get on. Practice maybe a few techniques, a few new brushes, that sort of thing. And yeah. Yeah, so let me close a little bit of this area in. Let me just a few little darks along this edge, the opening, and a few little things going on, a bit of yellow, a few little things going on in the middle. This is where the trees sort of go overhead as you come into this path. Maybe a bit more dark in this little undergrowth, because the shadows, this is directly in the shadows. So a bit of sap green and Payne's grey, which I'm using now. Hopefully that does look like a bit of a stream. I'm hoping it does. Let me know if it does, if you can tell what it is by just looking at the painting. And just a few little bits on this side as I come to the edge of the painting. I quite like this scene, to be honest. It's quite nice, and I think, let me know if I've done it justice, but I think I have. I think I've got things okay looking. But yeah, I think that's about it. Let me, in fact, I need to go in a little bit darker with the path, especially sort of on this bottom area. So let me do that. So if you do go a little bit too dark, well, just remember first off that watercolour does dry a little bit lighter than what you put down. So first of all, it may not be too dark, but if it is, you can always lift some of the colour out. I'm going to go a little bit grey in this. So you can always rectify a few things. Some things you can always lift. But yeah, quite happy with this. Quite happy with this. And yeah, I don't know whether I've caught the light as much as I wanted to. But maybe if I just carry on for a little bit, I'm going to just add more darks to this bit of area. This is the other side, opposite side to the light, so maybe it's not catching as much light. And it helps if you think about this place and what would be happening in real life. But yeah, just darken it a little bit. And so I think I am getting in the territory of overworking, so I am going to stop anytime soon so that doesn't happen. I don't want that to happen. Let me know if you do struggle with knowing when to stop, or if you stop like me a bit prematurely. Let me know. I'm not the only one. Just add a little bit of dark to just a few bits of this tree. That is quite dark. It is wet, so I'm letting it bleed in a little bit. And oh, that's still a bit wet. I've just put my hand on the path. Well, there we go. I think I need a few little bits coming off this tree. And maybe a little branch coming that way, disappearing through the foliage and then joining that branch. And maybe I grab my liner brush now. I'm going to take some of those branches through the foliage, some just going through. And yeah, a couple bits here and there. Yeah, I think that's, I keep saying that's it. Let me just add. Now I definitely think that's done. I don't want to do too much. I don't want to do any more to this scene. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you like this one. Let me just take you off the, take you off the, and there we go. Hope you like this one. Let me know what you think. Let me know if that does replicate light, the sunlight in the scene. You got all these textures and things going on. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.